That's got to be what was happening. I don't know. I just get these ideas now and then. Try to explain away, or try to explain in some way what the hell is going on, because I still don't have any idea exactly what exactly went on. My phones were tapped more than one way. My mental phones and all that. That was very disturbing. I can't rely on any of my intuition much anymore. But it never occurred to me that the exchange of consciousness, the exchange of spirits was taking place. See, I did know. See, the problem was is there was no communication, and why that was, I don't know. Apparently, it had to be for a good reason at this point, because whatever the God creator, whether it's a fucking alien, whether it's myself, or whether it's a tree, or it's the universe, usually doesn't talk to me directly and give me answers, and it is because it understands something's very wrong. All right, everything's kind of like this whole ascension process is kind of in ruin for me. I've got my mom dying. I have an obligation with my mom. I had a contract with my mom. I thought you knew that. I have an obligation with my mom, and I'm backing out of that now. And that hasn't been good. She made me promise not to leave her, and what's going on with my mom is just absolutely bizarre, to say the least. But at times, you are me and I am you, and this happens with other people, I think also. There's an exchange of consciousness. I recognize this, and what I understood at first, it happened for safety reasons. In other words, Mary would become Jesus, and Jesus would become Mary or Michael, depending on the scenario they were caught up in. In other words, if Mary were to go out to a party and get into a fist fight, essentially how this is done, I don't know, but the consciousness or the spiritual nature of Michael or Jesus, one and the same, would then manifest into the other person. So you would have a bipolar type behavior. You would have someone who would act all lovey-dovey one minute and then act all aggressive like a guy the next minute, or something to that effect. You would have someone who would act like a guy and act like a girl depending on the moment and may not even realize when it's happening. It would probably seem like a mood swing that would get misinterpreted. Now, I have no idea. I do not believe that that's who is telling me they despised me and who wanted me to kill myself, because it's too bizarre that I knew that someone was tapping into the phone lines, and then to find out that I'm right, and I typed that out before the whole Russian thing happened, with or they're claiming it's Russia. You are aware of one big thing that's very difficult to admit, and I've been aware of it for a long time. Okay, we're not just echoing what's going on TV. I'm not Donald Trump, by the way. Like I said, that's why I try to make it clear. I never voted. I'm not Donald Trump. If anything, I'm Donald Trump in the exact opposite form. Those people are all controlled, and this is going to be a big thing that comes out. But if we're looking for reflections or ways to parody ourselves in politics, I don't think it's very. There's too many anomalies. There's too many differences. If anything, I'm Bernie Sanders. Because now I have all the indigos coming up to me, and they know who I am. That's what's bizarre. That's what's bizarre. That the younger ones of the Omega generation, they call them, the ones that are just coming out of high school, they haven't called me by name, but they basically have identified that they know who I am, and that I have no idea how that's possible. But if that backs up everything else that I saw, then that backs up all of the things that I was shown. But it would also explain, though, the shifting of consciousness. That if in 1 minute, someone's married, then 1 minute they're Jesus, depending on the scenario they're in. If the people don't see each other face to face and don't realize that this mood swing could be observed as someone else stealing the phone or tapping into the phone lines. And that's the way I observed it. That's totally the way. That's the way, I saw it. I tried not to think that. To this day, I cannot trust anyone I talk to only on text or even on the phone. I've had people call, the voice synthesis thing. This is happening with other people too, where people are calling up and they're talking to their mother or their family member, and it turns out it's actually like a Casio voice synthesizer imitating. It's taking the tone of a loved one, and it's imitating that person like they're calling. And then you find out after a while that it's not really them, because they say something that's a little off, and you realize, holy shit, this person sounds like my mom, sounds like my brother, sounds like whoever, and it's not really them. It's fucked up the whole program. But god damn it, I wish there was communications. That whole fucking thing, that whole fucking goddamn trick, I don't know what was going on with that. Because I knew right away. I knew before. I don't know how to. I don't want to get into it anymore. But there's so much that either A, isn't known on both sides. I'm positive of that. There's so much that I don't know that I'm wrong about. and there's so much that you don't know that you know. I knew ahead of time. I knew before July of 2014 about the representation of an individual, but I didn't have any idea of who it had to do with or what it had to do with, because me and you had nothing to do with each other. And that's something that's very amazing to me again, because I don't know what impression you get because you want to add the word flame at the end of it. I would not have said that. That's not what my goal was at all, and I don't have a goal at all. I've always been looking at it scientifically. But when I look back at the entire year of 2014, which me and you were not even talking, I was talking to Sheikah the whole time. That is very amazing for me to now discover after the fact that once again, the exact parody existed. Now, who cares? It happens with a lot of people. No, it doesn't happen with a lot of people. It happens with people I empathically connect with, like my mom. That's the negative energy. The negative energy you're feeling is coming from my mom around me. It's driven my dad crazy. My dad's losing it now. We have priests coming to the house all the time, and they're not coming for me. But with that said, I just knew ahead of time something was going on. And then when I look back at it, to go to the hospital on July 12th and then to realize that that whole year of 2014-13, wherever you were, it never occurred to me that I had watched the entire series of Magnum P.I.